Hello, I'm Donnie. I'm here with Hannah, Joella, Morgan, and Dylan. And hey, good news! We have merch. Woo! Really, no one else excited? No.
Woohoo!
Okay then, fuck our merchandise. I guess don't go to TeePublic.
Always go to TeePublic.
TEE Public. Look for Awkward Productions. That's where we have some of our shirts. We have 4 or 5 up already.
4, I believe.
All right. And today we're going to start with setting ourselves on fire. Joella, would you care to explain?
Yes. Today, I set myself on fire. Forest fires. Apparently, I shouldn't be in charge of fire. Yeah. I was trying to fix my tub and screwed that up. So while I was waiting for a drill, I decided I would go out and burn all my paper bags and boxes and pizza boxes. And I lit a beautiful fire and I have a little TBI going. So my TBI brain thought it was a good idea to place a very large flat piece of heavy cardboard on top of the roaring fire as it shot very quickly up my face, hair, and kafoof. And now I'm like, well, it's layered now.
Got this nice little uneven, yeah.
I got a few uneven patches in the front. They used to be 16 inches long. Now they're like 6 inches long.
I mean, I'll trim your hair for you.
No, this is going to take a professional. I have burns on my hand, my lip.
They're not severe burns.
They're not severe burns. They're mild little burns, but like they hurt like hell, so fuck all y'all.
No, I'm just saying you didn't have to seek medical attention.
No, I didn't have to seek any medical attention. I promptly packed my hair with the snow that was sitting around me and finished burning the things I needed to burn, and then came inside to wash and condition the rest of what was left of my hair. So it's been a fucking day.
I don't know. That doesn't really beat Dylan's on fire story. It's one of my favorites.
You always bring this up.
Always.
Well, before Dylan's, we have to get the other runner-up, which would be Donnie.
Oh, with the grill?
Yeah.
Oh, I only burned a little bit of my eyebrow off. It's not.
Honey, you didn't burn a little bit of your eyebrow.
No, look, mine too, right here. My right eyebrow in the front will never need trimming again, and I will never grow nose hair. Ever. Grow nose hair again.
Donnie singed one half of his face.
Oh, it's not that bad.
It was. Your arm hair was gone.
Home Alone kind of bad?
No.
His arm hair was gone and all of his beard
Not all of my beard, just a little bit.
Was like singed, and then like one eyebrow, and then the top of the head.
I did not have one eyebrow.
I was so afraid when I walked back
singed.
that like I would have like the front of my head singed. You know what I mean? The fact that I don't is a fucking blessing, because I would have went all like, is it singed? Why are you laughing?
It's not bad.
It's singed?
No.
Do you see singe up here?
No.
A bald spot? Anything?
No, not at all. I mean, none more than usual. I'm joking.
Oh my god, that's funny. Oh my god.
Oh,
I was kidding.
I'm gonna cry.
Don't cry.
I'm totally gonna like, no. I'm gonna, what does that stay? I'm gonna like, what is that? Isolate. I'm isolating alone. Fuck all y'all. I'm isolating.
Joelle is putting herself in timeout.
Yeah.
So Dylan.
So the story, the story that everybody loves to hear, 'cause it's humiliating to me, right?
Oh, it's hilarious.
So to preface, I worked. I met this fella when I was working at the retail place, and he was an older guy. It's like an old mountain man. Had this giant dog. He was just a cool guy to be around, you know, one of those magnetic types. And we became fast friends and all that stuff. And forward to a few years later, he was having some medical issues, and he needed help. He had a big old farmhouse, and he needed help, you know, maintaining and chopping firewood, all that stuff. So I would go over, and when he was really sick, I would go over and make sure that his fire was started in the morning, so that way it was warm when he came downstairs and everything else. And so I showed up, and he had a specific way that he always wanted the fire started. He would put in the kindling, put in a little bit of newspaper, but because of the side of the house the chimney was on and the wind direction in that area, it always blew directly down the chimney, and it had a habit of putting the fire out unless it was really going. So he used lighter fluid to start these fires. Now, that is not recommended ever in a wood stove. This old farmhouse. This is an old farmhouse. So it's got this really old wood stove. It's cast iron, like really thick, heavy metal. You know, it's a real wood stove, meant for the winters up here. You know, and so I started the fire. I got it going. I did the way he always tells me to do it. Like I said, very specific way. And I got it going, and I closed it, and then I went up and I woke him up. And he's like, "Is the fire going?" I'm like, "Yes, I started it." "Are you sure it's going?" Because like I said, he was very particular about the way the fire was started. So he asked me all the questions, and he's like, "Okay, I'll get it." And it was hard for him to get around at that point, but like I said, he was the best guy, one of the best friends of my life. And he's not doing well. He's having a hard time getting around. And he's coming down the stairs very slow, and he's like I said, and he's like, "It's fucking cold down here. It's cold. God damn it. The wood stove. I'm going back to bed." And he's got. I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Big Lebowski. Watch it. Great movie. But he has this old robe, like old ratty robe, just the same way, barely tied in the front, same way, right? He's an old mountain man, hippie type, and so I went down the stairs ahead of him to double check on this wood stove because he was so adamant about it. It was very cold, and I check on the wood stove, it's out. So I'm like, all right, I'll just throw some more lighter fluid in there, and then I'll light it, and then it'll be going when it comes out. So I do this, and he's like, "It's out, isn't it?" And I was like, no, it's fine. It's fine. He's like, "It's got to wait an hour. I'm going back to bed." And he turns around, and he's only like a quarter of the way down the stairs. So it takes some time. So he starts turning around. I'm like, no, it's fine. It's going. I got it going. And I put the match to it. He's like, "Don't do it." And he turns around, and he starts coming back down the stairs as quick as he can. And he's like, "Don't do it. I'm telling you, don't do it. I trust me, don't do it." And I'm like, "It's fine." And I lit the wood stove, and this belly of the beast wood stove expanded and went woo, like it was audible, like the sound that came out, because it was pure fire shot at my face, and it caught all my hair, burned my eyebrows. I've had a goatee forever, and it burned it. I had to shave it. Like my face was on fire. This was happening. My hair was on fire. So this guy, here comes this guy. He's an old mountain man. He's hobbling over, you know, and he's got a broom, and he starts swinging this old broom wildly. And here you got a picture. Here's this balding, older, white, pure white hair, long white beard, old man, like, and he's swinging wildly, and this poor bathrobe never stood a chance because it was falling apart to begin with, and so that's naked old man. And he's hitting me with this broom, and he finally the fire's out, and I'm like, stop hitting me, and this guy is still swinging the broom, and his balls are swinging in the wind, and I'm like, just hanging there. So anyway, that's the story of how I got on fire, and a naked hippie put me out with a broom.
Oh,
that's the story.
And this concludes story time with Dylan.
And then they fell madly in love. And
we were absolutely wrong about my hair. There are spots that are a little singed up front. I'm not happy right now. I took a couple head selfies.
I know. I hear you over there go.
I'm not happy.
So if anybody hears any clicks in the background, that's what it was. She's just checking herself out.
I definitely have some singed up front hair. It's not having a good time right now.
Oh,
you'll be okay.
No, I don't think it will.
It'll grow back. It's alright.
Oh my god.
That is not something you say to a woman about
her
hair.
Never say that to a woman about her hair, Donnie. It's okay, it'll grow back. No.
Not all women are like me.
No, fuck it, it won't grow back then.
This is my comfort, my security blanket, my whoopee, and it has been abused and
by you.
No, it was violently attacked by a fire.
That you started.
My non-TBI brain definitely said don't do that.
Well, at least you didn't have old naked hippie balls swinging over your face.
I would have preferred.
Some old naked hippie balls.
To be honest, there was nobody there to put me out. Like, it was just one big whoosh and me heading towards a snowbank.
Stop, drop, and roll is real. That's what I was doing on the ground in front of the wood stove. But it's all bricks right there, so my face is on fire and I'm just gritting it up on the bricks.
The old lady and old man that live next door
This is like always grinder.
super interested in what I'm doing. So her face is planted in the window if I'm outside. So they were at their deck door while I was burning this shit. So I'm pretty sure they saw it.
Oh!
I'm surprised they didn't call the cops.
They got it on their Ring doorbell. It's going viral tomorrow.
But I'm pretty sure.
They have a YouTube account.
I'm pretty sure that if I had
Shit, my neighbor just
yeeted myself.
We need to link it to our YouTube if it's out there. If anybody finds this,
Shut up,
link
Donnie.
it to us.
If it see me yeet myself head first into the snow to stop, drop, and roll,
Like fucking.
I'm for sure the cops would have been
Snow
here.
is way better than brick.
I saw the fucking flame come up, and I was like, "This is bad."
I would have
And
headed
then
to the snowbank.
I tucked
when
my
saw
head
it.
down, and it went whoosh.
Whoosh.
And as soon as I felt the hair, like I didn't care if the face was burned, like just the fucking hair. I just started grabbing snow and like packing my hair with snow, thinking, I can't leave the fire, but my fucking hair. And what's bad is the bastards watching me.
It didn't do
But
it.
listen,
It's like smoking a cigarette.
if I threw myself into the snowbank head first, they would have called the cops, for sure. But the fact that I was on fire didn't alarm them enough to call the police. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, other things alarm them, but me being on fire in my backyard wasn't enough.
Man.
Shit, my neighbors do.
So the next time I'm going to be like, dude, unless I'm on fire.
Unless I'm on fire. As opposed to last time I was on fire. Do something.
Exactly.
We
at least spread the
implore
fires out.
all of our, like, viewers to start the hashtag shit my neighbors do
Yes.
and tag us in this.
Yes, please.
My neighbor mows my front lawn because I don't mow it. Because
while you sat there and watched you light yourself on fire.
Fast becoming the confessional over here.
Listen, I don't have time.
My
And when
neighbors
I mow
snowball
it,
for me
I
because
mow
they're
it,
amazing.
but when I get time, it's
Andy's a fucking twit, so he just goes over and does it
so he
anyway before
mows
he has a
it
chance.
because it brings down the property value, which I intend to do even more next year. But
But setting more shit on fire.
oh yeah, property value around here is going down
Oh,
20,000.
she-
Like
Property value went down 20%.
She's gonna start her own
Big
controller.
daddy. Microsoft down 10 points.
oh yeah, I'm gonna fly a "Don't Tread on Me" flag, and then out front, I'm gonna paint all those tires that are on the porch rainbow colors, right? And I'm just gonna put United Life Church all welcome, and then just like let her go. $20,000 right into the tubes. I am.
Put a porta potty out there. Value gone. I'm not even kidding. You should look it up. You put a porta potty outside of somewhere. Value gone. Outhouse gone.
And that way the Trump supporter across the road will move. And
You want him to move? Just put up a Biden sign. He's gone.
He won't move. He'll just break in here like they did at the Capitol.
No. Those weren't Trump supporters.
Bullhorn and all.
They weren't Trump supporters. Just angry people.
No, those were Trump supporters, dude.
Most of them were.
Mob
There were some.
mentality.
If you look, there were a few Trump flags. There were some red hats. Most of them were like pissed off rednecks.
Trump supporters.
Trump supporters.
No, I'm not a Trump supporter, and
I'm not a fucking
right now,
redneck.
no, I'm not a Trump supporter. And right now, my government is disgusting.
The guy with the horns on his head is in
He's
jail
mentally
right now.
ill.
He's
Have
in
you
j-
looked at him? He showed up at every event like that. There's obviously something wrong.
I gotta
with
be
him.
honest, that was fucking hilarious.
He's
He kept
in
showing
jail
up.
right now.
Okay,
and
first of all-
he went to the courts and they granted him an organic shaman diet. And so now the jail has to provide an organic shaman.
I love it.
I'd feed a fucking squirrel personally. It's organic.
yeah,
It's all
look.
natural.
Look, you know
So
what?
Ruben,
I am the
last one of the
farthest
lower
thing.
choices.
I am the farthest thing from vegan or gluten free or anything like that. And if I got arrested and sent to jail, you're damn right I would be making them have me make a vegan fucking food.
No, I'd be like, I need
Just
kosher
to
meals.
be a
To
pain in the
honest,
balls.
It's the hardest meal for them to get, and it's
Actually,
also
ramen,
really
like,
expensive.
Muslim meal, like for Muslims.
That's what I'm saying. It's
They
if
put
you,
out
I would instantly be like, I am Muslim. What are they, feed me that? Have fun.
I'm gonna start my own religion
Yeah,
where I
see,
eat
that's
nothing but
bad,
steak
man.
and lobster.
See, that's why. That's
Are you
why-
trying to kill me? Like you
We
just
veered
want
right off
my
of that. You
religion?
saved right over the
fact
whole
that you made me
Capitol
go.
thing we did. Didn't just poop right over the top of it.
I mean, it's gotta
There's
be-
so much. There's so much to
So
say
to unpack.
about that.
And what do? Like, the whole thing's our politics. We're what I feel like is the United States is like at this tipping point age. Like like we're 18 now or 17 now or something like that, and we have done something grievously stupid. and,
We hired an
and
ass
now-
clown for a president.
and now we have.
Please specify.
And we have to
Which
vote.
one? Pick
Well,
one.
no, I mean in general, all politicians in general, we have this system right now that's messed up.
Yeah.
It's, everything's
Messed
everything's
up.
screwy. So
The problem
it's hard to say.
the
what
problem
the
is
best
there's no
steps
change.
forward
The
are.
problem is the people that are upset want they want
I just want to elect smart people.
you want what?
Smart people with a conscience.
Well,
I-
good
I-
fucking luck in politics. First
That's
of
all I
all,
want.
smart people, conscience, definitely not.
But why not? Why
No,
can't
no.
we as a nation say
We
enough's enough?
should be able to, and that's it.
That's
Enough's enough.
That's what I'm saying. We're at this pivotal turning
But that's what they
point
did.
age where
That's what they
we're
did at the
going-
Capitol. Enough's enough. We're done. Because
Right.
how else, honestly,
No, but-
if you look at American history, anytime that anything has changed, right, a big change, there's been violence.
But we
So unless you
have to-
so it's daddy, and unless you throw a fucking temper tantrum and throw yourself on the floor, he's not going to listen to you. I think that's where they're at.
Yeah, but
I mean, not that I would be
that's the
throwing a
point,
temper
though.
tantrum at the floor, but I'm just saying, like,
That's the point, though.
like-
is that we need to be like, okay, well, we have a system in place in order to get rid of the people that make all of this possible. This system that's broken.
we
that
do
is
have a system in
continued.
place, and it's not working.
Yeah,
It's
that's
broken because they put too many sub laws in, and there's too many people running around.
I'm talking about. Everybody right now sees how America's at. Why don't more people run for office? Let's make it less about party politics.
Why would it not?
Let's make it less
Do
about all
you really,
that stuff.
honestly, 100% think it matters who runs?
Listen, I will take a community college professor that cares.
So-
that gives
so
a
would
crap
I.
about anything.
So would I. So would everybody else, but it's not going to happen.
But
it could.
It
If
could.
everybody,
Right after the government we have fucks everything up so bad.
I mean, I voted for a professor from Clemson.
So did I.
Yes, honey.
okay, so it's about everybody coming together, though. Like, you can't just have one faction or the other faction standing on the sidelines going, okay, enough's enough. We all have to join together to make this change. And that's where we're going to have the issue.
Well, but it wouldn't have to be an issue because if you think about it this way, everybody doesn't have to agree on everything. They just have to agree on one thing.
Yes.
You don't have to
I
unite over
agree.
everything. Like, all those different groups are all going to have a pissing match over something. So, like, get on the bus, ride the bus to the destination, keep your freaking mouth shut, and agree that you're riding the bus for this reason to get to this destination. And they're
Absolutely.
actually already doing that.
well, we're all in this together, whether we
Exactly.
want to admit it or not. I mean, we're
But how do you get your government to listen to you? Like I said, personally for me, like going to
our
break
sys-
windows at the Capitol isn't it.
our
But
system is designed.
How?
Our system is designed where we change the people who are in office. And we need to get away from like, oh, well, this guy's okay.
But
Let's
everybody-
pressure the people that you know that you're like, this person should run for office because that's the type of person that we need to help change the country? Are they political scientists? Do they have a history and a political career or anything like that? I mean, you need experience.
Life
people,
experience.
but you can have experienced people in your cabinet, and the people around you, all the aides, all the people that have a politician's ear, are the people who will help. It doesn't matter if you're a president or a senator,
Governor,
anything.
Yeah.
Whatever the race is.
No, I feel like this system's super corrupt, and it's going to be a lot harder than just us pressuring the...
But we have the power. Like,
no, we don't. See, you think we do, but we don't. We don't have the power. If we had the power, we'd have changed it already.
You can elect people.
I can listen.
It's a slower change than some crazy revolution. But
No,
I'd rather take 4 years of somebody blowing up Twitter and making us look like asses of ourselves.
But here's the thing, like, the way society stands right now with the media and the politics and how it's been for the last 75, 80 years, maybe a little less than that, is basically, it's the whole duopoly thing. Like, media separates it into this category and otherwise it's not acceptable. And there are focuses pushed on, oh, well, this person's third party, so they're a waste to vote, or
they're not part of the system.
Yeah. So
See,
but what I'm saying is,
what you don't see is behind all that, there's like a manipulation. You're manipulated into, the majority of people are manipulated, into believing what they believe.
That's my point.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's my point. Like, the duopoly is an example of that, though. Like, if you vote for anything other than the duopoly, you're wasting a vote, or you're this, or you're that. And that's part of the manipulation, because everyone's like, oh, well, we're not going to see real change if we vote for third party because it's a waste of vote. But, like I said, it's all about manipulating it into the sides that you want. It doesn't matter if the lesser of two evils is still evil. Like,
no, but I'm saying your government is manipulating you or manipulating the general public. You know what I'm saying? Like, the people that aren't thinking outside the box, the people that aren't paying attention,
the idiots
are even, they're very educated people that are easily manipulated. Like, what video was that? The Psychology of Power explains exactly, the Psychology of Power explains exactly that. How you are mainstream people, this amount of people, this population is easily manipulated into believing these things. Mm-hmm. Because that's what keeps them safe. That's what makes them feel safe. That's what makes them feel free. That's what makes them feel like their government is working for them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think we're both trying to make the same point. We're just slightly...
But, you feel like it's those two sides. I'm feeling like it's a corrupt government. It doesn't matter which side it is.
But that's the thing. The government is made up of those two sides. Like,
they're made up of duly elected officials.
But if you feel like,
if people could come together on it, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying that the people need to all have the same
values.
Everything. Well, I expect arguments. I expect it because there's no. You can't say that there's this clear policy across the board that is going to work perfectly and everything's going to get better. There's like this one idea isn't going to fix everything. There's no cure-all. It's a bunch of little things, and we need to have debates about them. We need to do the best chance, but we also need to be open to saying, like, okay, that didn't work, rather than this like sweep it under the rug politics that's been going on forever. Like we need to grow out of that. Like, okay, like call them out. 3 months ago you said this was going to work and it isn't, or whatever. 5 years ago, Mitch McConnell's been there for 140 years.
How do you speak against that? Like if you're speaking to your government, like this isn't working. As a people, you go to them. It's you vote.
But you can say okay.
No, you can vote all you want.
All the party crap. Take away all the party crap.
How do I go right now to my government and say you're doing a piss poor fucking job?
You can't
call
and you can write emails and
right.
letters.
And you know what they do with them? Delete. Garbage. Can you believe that bitch sent another letter? Jesus Christ! Can you imagine the office talk? So where do I go? Because right now in the middle of our country, our country is a mess. We're like over here with the COVID. We're all dying of the COVID. There's a gray hair. Jesus Christ. We're all like freaking out with the COVID. And then over here, our entire political system is falling to shit. So how do you go to your government right now?
It didn't happen over a day.
It didn't happen over a day, but if it keeps going the way it is, we've got people attacking our capital. We've got people being arrested that... They had military people there, like veterans, attacking their own capital. So if our own veterans are attacking our own capital, maybe we should take a second as a government and stop and go, wait a minute. These are people that served our country, that are for our country, and they're breaking into the capital. Maybe we've got a problem.
But we're in charge of hiring. That's what I'm saying.
But we're not.
Yes, we are.
Okay, so say I've hired all these people for this company. I've interviewed them with, obviously we didn't interview very well, but I've interviewed them, I've hired them all. My company's running like shit. And I go to these people, I'm like, dude, my company's running like shit. Something needs to change. Because I'm the head of that company, I can do that. Or because that employee comes to me, it could be done. But this is our government.
It's like signing a
contract.
How do I go? It's like signing a contract for 2, 4, or 6 years, depending on the office.
Well, here's the thing. They're changing offices, and it's going to crap even worse. So what do we do right now?
It's because we've been electing the same type of people.
Okay, but our country can't wait 4 years. Like, it's going to shit now. So what do we do right now?
We have a new guy coming in.
It's going to shit even worse right now. He's coming in. Oh, I'm rooting for him too. I'm hoping to God. I'm hoping to God.
Rooting for us.
You have some free speech by the time they're all done. Because like right now they're shutting down all your social media. They're censoring all your social media.
Oh, I know.
So if you want to be a liberal, you're not going to be able to voice that opinion.
You be a liberal, it's all. Listen, all the social media stuff about blocking people, not blocking people. People are comparing it to the case about the bakery and all this other stuff. So it's tough because social media is so vast that it's not a small bakery.
No, but they're shutting down accounts for little things. So if they're shutting down,
it's a huge way that people communicate, and part of our country's laws stipulate a freedom of speech. So you have to look at the thing on a whole without bias from either side and say, what do we do about this?
What happens?
How do we make things better?
But what happens when your government tells you can't put that on your social media anymore? Because that's what they're doing.
But it's not the government. It's Mark Zuckerberg or whoever else.
And who do you think helps run your government? 800 very rich people.
Oh,
not even that many.
It's 800.
Oh, it's 800.
Probably like the top 8.
But either way, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, and I'm not saying, like I said, I don't want people to agree about everything, but we can come up with solutions. And if we're open and honest and say, okay, that didn't work, and it's okay to try things when you're talking about this system. We run around and say everything's fine. We're that dog that's on fire in the room.
We're the villain.
This is fine. Like that's just what we've been operating under for years.
But like you say we as the people, and I think that can be accomplished by the people. But when you bring it to your government, which
we are the government, that's what I'm saying.
We're not. We're not. We're not the government. We're not. So we gather, we bring this to our government, and we say, hey, this isn't working. We need to try something different. Right now, your government's saying, fuck you. You know what I mean? So how do you effectively do that?
like I said, I mean, it's a slow way to change things, but that's the truth. Until we change the voting process, it's going to be not necessarily the process itself, but until we change how we vote as people in general and what we're basing our criteria on. Like, oh, I like that guy's smile and that guy talks real good. Like, that guy's been on TV for years and years. He's trustworthy. You know what I mean? Like,
I just think they're going to
like,
go
no matter
through
what.
a lot more bullshit. Like all these different groups and all their different issues. I think they're going to be a lot more violent issues.
Well, it's
before, you know what I'm saying? Like I think it's going to break out everywhere.
Well,
I want to
it's
see people
just-
argue. I want to see people argue over candidates. Like, oh, well, my person's a scientist, and they use this rational thought.
Right.
They have these beliefs, and they coincide with mine. And I want the other people to say, well, you know, my guy is a person like some monk or something that's a like, total pacifist, and he's the guy that you want leading the country. And like then you have other people who say, oh, we need somebody who has military experience to run the country. That's fine too. I'm not saying we all need to agree, but those are all experience in those areas, and you know, having all that stuff, it matters. And I'd rather see people arguing over that than arguing over like the red and blue or red, blue, and gold, whatever. You know, it's not football. Don't pick teams. Pick candidates per go. You know, like.
Well, the biggest problem we have is the tribalism that's going on. You know, it's the whole mentality of, oh, if you're not with us, then you must be against us. They're like rival gangs at this point.
But
the conservatives and the liberals.
I think if they can come together on one common issue, right? Even if they brought it, like, the discussion needs to happen between we already have a government. It's already in place. We already have the people. We already hired them. So now, like CEO and employee, as the people, we now need to go to them and say, hey, we're not happy with this, and this, in large amounts, in a peaceful manner. But there needs to be a discussion between the government and the people. Because that's where it's missing. The government isn't validating how we're feeling, what we're going through, where we are feeling as a people in our little tribes.
They're telling us how we're feeling.
In our little tribes, right? All these people that are whatever you're for or against or whatever you're upset about, all those little tribes are there, and we're saying validate what we're feeling, validate our issue. Like we're having this issue. This is what we don't like that's happening. Validate it. Let me know you hear me. And hey, can we have a discussion about it?
They do a lot of polling, and
honestly,
and I'm not saying that the whole scope of politics is.
I think we really need to have an actual like discussion. Like I don't know if you've got to make it fucking a million town hall meetings like they had back in whatever.
Well, they have been doing that a lot more.
You know, like you sit down with this group of people and you discuss this with them. You work through it. Sit down with this group of people.
So I think, and this is slightly a joke, but not really a joke. But do y'all remember Undercover Boss?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's actually, for a month, put our government on our minimum wage employees.
I'll tell you right now.
Hold on.
Bring your lowest paid government official in to live my life for a day. Okay? And the first time, their water won't go down that fucking sink and they gotta take a plunger to it. Or the first time they have to figure out how to feed their family on what? What do you feed your family on? Like, the first time they have to buy a gallon of milk, put gas in their car, it's gonna be an awakening. Like, I don't know that they'll survive a month of my life.
That's my point. You know, like, it's not necessarily about them living on our funds, but I think they're out of touch with what
the real world is.
What, not necessarily the real world, but you know.
Here's the thing: they don't care. They don't care what your world is like. They care about what their world is like.
Exactly. Put them for a month.
So Andrew Yang was a super liberal guy that ran for the Democrat seat for president. And he lost in the primaries. But he had some pretty, like, eye-opening ideas, stuff that made you think. And you may not agree with all the things that he said. You might think the total opposite.
But that's okay.
But he
that's
expressed his views, backed it, gave a reason, and I think that's the type of person that we need to see. And Maine and one other state passed a law this year that they're going to do what's that called? Where it's like it's the voting where you say, okay, my first choice is Joe Jorgensen, but then my second choice is Joe Biden or
yeah. I still don't understand how that works.
So basically, rather than
if your first choice was Joe Jorgensen
and she clearly loses,
you put it in and you put a second choice. It's like bidding for a job. If you bid for one job and you don't get it, then the one you'll take is this one. So if you put a vote in for Joe and she's not going to win that election, your vote's automatically going to go to the person you pick second.
But the huge thing to me is the primaries. Specifically in this situation, people get upset because there's 10 Democrats or 12 Democrats running for president right now. There's so many of them, blah, blah, blah. But if you had ranked choice voting in every state, then the primaries would be much more interesting. You wouldn't end up with the dry old guy that just continued to pull the most votes, like not winning every state, but just like
comfortable
in there. And then all of a sudden you're stuck with the two bland candidates that aren't going to change anything. They've been around for 400 years and they're just taking a swing.
I think people are brainwashed into believing they only have two candidates. Like most, if you ask most young people any other than Biden or Trump, if you ask most young people what their third party candidate is, they'll tell you, well, there isn't a third party candidate. And you're like, well, actually, you can write your own name in if you'd like.
So the ranked choice voting, if that was in primaries, I mean, think about it. There could have been a totally different election from that side of things because clearly, the incumbent, he won his parties. But so ranked choice voting would have been really interesting because the people that went for Yang might have gone to a second choice to a much more liberal Democrat. And on the other side of things, the people that voted for Tulsi Gabbard first might have gone to somebody else. Or, hey, I don't know, maybe the people who were like, oh, I really don't like A and B, but I really don't want B to win, so I gotta vote for A because they're the only other person that's close and all that other crazy
stuff. I didn't really agree with a lot of Tulsi Gabbard's views, but I think she would have been. I think she was the best Democratic candidate that we had.
I think all around she would have won handily in the national election. Like other than if she would have gotten through the primaries and she would have been the one against Trump, then I think she would have handily pulled enough Republicans because of her stances, on the traditional. She was more of the older style Southern Democrat, even though she's from Hawaii. Like that's kind of what how I feel about her. But I think that ranked choice voting is the way to go, especially for primaries. I don't know all the legality. I know that it's being challenged all over the place because they say they don't know. It's one of those things.
We're having problems with regular voting at this point.
Yeah, but
we're having difficulty voting this year, period. So if you add in something a little more in depth, I don't know that you wouldn't confuse the politicians to death.
They did such a good job of talking about getting out to vote. I don't think there was as many problems getting to the polls this year because there wasn't as much pressure on it.
No, well, I think more people voted because more people were angry. Well, absentee ballots and more people more people were like, "Oh hell no, we're not doing this another 4 years." Like we already look like ass clowns, and we're not doing this another 4 years.
But I think here we go. I mean, I want to see how things go, and like I said, I'm rooting for them. But I mean, we all know. I mean, actually, Joe, did you see the video? Joe Biden actually says when he was questioned by a reporter, and the question came up, and he expected a softball, and the question was, when you Harris disagree, fundamentally disagree on an issue, how do you plan on resolving it? And he threw up a softball and, took a big swing on thinking it was a softball question and said, "Oh, I think her and I are going to do just like me and Baraka. We get along and most of our views fall in line and everything's open discussion." And he thought that was going to be the end of it. And then the reporter pushed the question again. And she's like, no, like, what happens if you fundamentally disagree? That's the question. If you guys can't see eye to eye on an issue, what are you going to do? And then he did his blank stare, and then he said, well, I'm going to fake an illness, whatever the illness is, and then I'll step down, and, then she won't have to worry about it. And he said that in an interview, and he wasn't joking at all. Like, I saw it. If you watch the video, he doesn't.
Do you think he just has
smile,
sarcasm going on there?
No, I think it was all the stuff. Like, he's in the beginning stages of dementia.
Well, you do know, his stutter, like the stuttering in the speech issue that he has is when he was a child, he had a speech issue.
I get it. I stammer sometimes,
right?
And so I understand.
Like his inability to.
But it's stuff like
words,
that,
right?
Where it's just like, I've been trained. This is what we're doing. This is the plan. This is the plan. This is the plan.
And that's what he.
But that was a secret plan, and. Yeah. You should see Kamala Harris is sitting 6 feet away from her, and she was seething. She had a smile on her face, but her eyes. I know the smile, look, okay?
Like
my
you're
mom
gonna die.
had the look. She had the look. She was looking at him like, "What, Joe? What did you do when we get home?
I'm gonna beat you."
When we get home, that was the look, and I've seen it. I know it.
Sounds like I've experienced this all of my life.
So,
well, if that's the case, then.
I think that's what he's going to do.
That's kind of really sad.
It was underhanded. I mean,
you taking the poor guy, you're making him lie because he can't remember. Like, if that's actually the case, we are disgusting as a human race. That's horrifying.
So I've said
no, we're disgusting as politicians.
I bet he'll step down. I'll say before the end of year one, right before the end of year one, somewhere between 6 months and a year, because. I'm sure he's been in politics forever. And even though I'm sure he knows what's going on, or he at least assumes, or whatever.
He's probably at the point where he still knows.
Yeah. That stuff just isn't quite... Because I've heard him in older speeches and debates and stuff like that, and he was always right on. Sharp. There was no wild... He's had a wild story here and there. And that's why they call him Uncle Joe. But
the thing is, with people with dementia, right? So like the debate they had, their processing is so much different. So when you throw too many things at them at one time, so like Trump just being like this aggressive narcissist who's always got he's not taking the time to listen to like. Reply or respond, he's reacting. Yeah. So he's so reactionary that he reacts, and then all this stuff comes out, and it's coming at by a mile a minute, and that causes chaos in his brain. And once that chaos starts, he can't reply. So even early stage, you know what I'm saying?
But I feel for Biden. I do, because of all of this going on, and he really did have one heck of a career in politics.
Yeah.
Agree with him or don't, but I mean, anytime you can keep something going that long, so, but to see him,
it don't matter who's in office, they need to have a sit down with a whole bunch of people before our whole country goes to shit. Because I don't want to live in a country that's going to shit. I don't want to live in I don't want to live in a country where I've got to be like afraid my government is literally going to fall that day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be in a country where I'm going to wake up in the morning and there are 8 different militia running my country.
I don't think we'll get there. I have faith that are in our country's strength.
Oh, I have faith. I
think we're in a bad place.
No, this is where I have faith that they will make sure that whatever issue's going on is squelched, put out, not talked about, swept under the rug, quieted.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying we need to get away from.
Controlled. Deleted. They're going to delete it all.
We need to get away from that. And we need to say, okay, we're adults now.
But once they take it away, once they say we don't have to listen to you anymore, because they'll like at this point, like honestly, instead of arresting those people, maybe they should sit down and say, hey, what is your fucking major malfunction, asshole?
There's a guy.
Like, what is it that I can possibly fucking do to make your ass happy? Because obviously, you're not happy right now. What is it we can do to change this?
Well, there's a lot to unpack in that whole thing, right? Because Trump...
Well, if you never open the suitcase, then it's never going to get unpacked.
So all Trump wants is admiration. That's all that guy wants. He wants to be loved by the people.
I think there's more to, like, I think Trump has his agenda with the people, and I think you have, like, your like, weird Trump followers that'll do whatever no matter what. But I think more people showed up to that weren't Trump supporters that were angry about other things.
Well, they said
and saw it as a venue
to take it. 80 to 100 people that actually broke into the Capitol. There was what 100,000 people there. Or
I have a
like
friend that went. Right, she went and did not know. Like, no, you would never. You look at her and be like, "You're where? Doing what?" Like, never would have thought it. And she didn't go for Trump. She went because she wants to be able to keep her guns, and she wants to be able to hunt. Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there are other people there for other reasons. So set aside the drama. Set aside the Trump people. They'll be like, fuck you. Sit over there and shut up here in timeout. Let me talk to you people who are here for other reasons that are angry. There's a reason you're here. There's a reason you're angry. Tell me why you're angry, and let's see if we can address some of it. Because this is an emergent situation. This isn't like one we can wait 4 more years for, or we can wait for them to address. It's emergent. They need to address it now. Like, if you want to stop angry people from being angry, listen to them.
Trump did address it.
No, not Trump addressing it.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
We should have impeached him the first fucking time.
We did impeach him.
Well, then why is he still there?
He didn't go through the Senate. He wasn't removed from office.
Shame on them.
Yeah, well, that's old turkey neck himself. I know. I try not to dive in, but man, Mitch McConnell, that guy. Like, when I look at him, he's every Disney evil villain.
Then why didn't we get him during turkey season? Because, like...
They did, the runoff election. He lost his seat. So, I think it was him. No, did Mitch McConnell say? Anyway, he's not going to be Speaker of the House. But I'm saying,
you have a new president.
It's going to be Chuck Schumer.
Oh my God, really? Do we not take resumes for this shit?
This is what I'm saying.
Like, we should be, like, this is my resume... And then I should be able to look at that resume and go,
they do.
No.
I have a career in politics.
No. I want to know. You know what I want to know? I want to know if you have a favorite flavor of ramen. I want to know if you know what a gallon of milk costs. I want to know what you do when you ain't got any toilet paper and you don't have any money. Somebody tell me, Morgan, what you do. Okay.
Find a rack.
If you got no toilet paper and no money, Morgan, we can't say it out loud because it wouldn't be okay. But I want to know that. Tell me what you're going to do. And if you get the right answer, you're good. Like, you need to have a fucking resume.
Oh, we're out of toilet paper. We'll just use our bidets.
Like, you need to have a resume for life. If you haven't lived, like, if you literally woke up every morning to your nice little silk sheets, not knowing what a gallon of milk costs, not ever struggling in your life, I don't want you in office.
Well, they chastised AOC about sleeping in her office. Because when she first got to Congress, she was sleeping in her office. And she's like, I haven't got my first paycheck from my job here, and I don't have the type of money it costs to live in D.C., close to work and everything else.
So we had a homeless government official.
She wasn't homeless. She has her place in New York City.
Oh.
No. She's
sorry.
She was a waitress.
But she was a bartender.
Yeah.
So she knows.
Yeah.
That's like, she knows hell.
She was sleeping on a couch.
Exactly.
That's the type of dedication I want.
Yes.
Like, I don't agree with her policies, a lot of them, or whatever.
Too bad she's dumb as a bag of bricks.
Okay, but that's, okay, whatever.
But she's a real person. A person that gets life. A person who's lived life.
At least there's that quality, which you can say to a certain extent. I think everyone can say, okay, it's kind of refreshing to see that it's not all just like rich older folks or sons of those rich older folks.
Can I please ask why? No offense to anybody in their 70s, okay, But why in the fuck we are hiring the oldest people that we have in the country?
Because they're career politicians.
Okay. I don't care.
Been in there
I don't mind a career politician.
If
a career politician was
not lifelong.
If a career politician was in, no, they get.
This is not marriage.
They get voted.
This is not till death do us part.
But they get voted for by their district, by their constituents.
I know. I'm saying though, like there needs to be a cap on age. Do you think a 70-year-old, okay, how the hell old is...
I don't want someone that's senile running my country.
No, that's not it. You take somebody that is 75 years old.
You want somebody who has the integrity to say, okay, like, I need to step down. I can't
okay, but integrity where? Wait, listen though.
Integrity from the ground up.
Listen, 72, 75, whatever. You're 70, okay? I'm 50. In the 70s, we didn't have internet. We didn't have computers. We had a black and white TV with 3 fucking channels that you had to get your ass up to change. We had a party phone line that you shared with 3 other people. Like, there was no internet. There was none of that existed.
Shit, that was me in the 80s.
Okay, so but from 1970 when I was born until now in 2021, I went from no internet, shitty ass phone lines with a 50-foot cord, to a little computer I carry around with me everywhere. Right? So life has changed so much.
Right.
I know what it was like before 9/11, what it was like after 9/11. Like, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so imagine a 70-year-old. The views 20 years before me are the views that
So you're talking about Joe Biden.
I'm talking about any politician that is that old cannot really understand what it's like to grow up and live in this world, because most of their life was spent in a world that didn't have all this bullshit.
No,
their views, their what they see as morally okay, what they see as relevant, what they see as important is different than what the world sees as important. Does that make sense?
No, I understand.
Too damn old.
Yeah, but again, I mean, the founders were like, "Oh, nobody's going to hire a senile. Like, the country's not going to vote for somebody like that."
What were they in for? Huh?
And if they do, then here we have the vice president, and now they have the ability to get the cabinet to all agree that the president is unfit or unable to complete their duties.
And that's what I'm saying. We shouldn't have to do that. We should have, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, our foundation is a good foundation.
It is, but it needs to change. Life has changed so much.
It was not
you can't take
for corruption.
People that old and put them up here because they don't understand. They don't get it.
Well, the biggest problem is other offices don't have term limits, and that's how we get a lot of these career politicians.
Well, there's talk about term limits.
Oh yeah, but the people who are going to vote for them are the people it's affecting.
But what do you
Are you going to go to your job and be like, "Hey, Dylan, we're gonna cut your pay in half"? Are you going to be like, "Yeah, sure, fuck it"?
I don't do that much work, sure. No.
Like, they're going to be like, "Oh, I'm getting a raise? Sure, why not? I'll sign this."
Yeah, but so what you're saying, there should be an independent council that approves raises for...
I'm just saying there should be term limits.
Well,
I mean, we have term limits for a president. I mean...
No, there should be.
Yeah, because they didn't want... And we didn't have that at first.
But if you don't want that at that upper level,
and then
it seeps into that lower level.
After, what was it, FDR that served 3 terms?
Oh, it was 4, I thought.
4,
yeah.
But, I mean, so after that, they were like, okay.
We've had enough.
But, term limits would be amazing. Because then you don't get that person comfortable in that office who's just going through the motions.
Come on!
Okay, but say this. Say
your term limits. The license plate me and my sent you? With him holding a license plate that says I'm a dick?
Yes.
Say your term limits are 5 for the House of Representatives because it's 2 years of vote, so that's 10 years. Say that's your term limit, 5. And then for the Senate, you do 2 or 3, 12 or 16 years. So say 16 years and 10 years, you have 26 years as a politician. And now the only thing you can do left is be the president or vice president. And you know what I mean?
It's kind of like being a football player, though. Well, yes, you can. Listen. No, that's bullshit. I lost my job. Wasn't my fault. At my age,
they have the potential to lose their job every 4 years.
At my age, I have to start over. It's the same thing. If you choose to be a football player and you get your knee knocked out 4 years in, you better hell hope you paid attention in college. You got your fucking degree, so you can go be a teacher.
Or at least you had enough sense to save the fucking millions of dollars.
Right. So like,
because the average age of a football player is in his 30s.
But I'm saying
lucky.
Oh, it's. I think they said Tom Brady was the oldest person to throw a football pass since. Or a touchdown pass in the playoffs since the 60s, I think.
See,
50s.
Lots of jobs you have to plan ahead. Lots of jobs are temporary. They're short term. You want to be a politician? Yeah, that's only going to be for 6 years. So guess what? Have a plan B, like everybody else in America has to have.
No, but I'm saying, what if they're really doing a great job for everybody? I'm saying this person is doing fantastic.
After
you're
6 years,
you're gonna kneecap them.
Yeah, you do that with your president, so that they don't get comfortable and complacent.
So they don't become a king. I get it. I understand. There was talk
so
about
you don't control the state.
Yeah, and if we do it this way, that way the underlings don't become dukes.
But people,
you know what I mean?
But the founders assumed that people would be like, okay, we've had enough of this guy's views. Let's not vote for him anymore. George Washington set the precedent. He said, I don't want anyone to turn into a king. So, but nobody else at the time followed that. And it's because you had people, again, that were so opposite ends of the spectrum opinionated, and they couldn't agree, and they had to come to compromises. They were forced to come to a solution.
What they should have done, instead of your whole pyramid politics, instead of democracy is amazing, it should always be a democracy, but instead of having that person at the top that filters down to 2 people and then 3 people and then 4 people, it should have been more horizontal. We the people, so there should be that group of people that govern at the top. When you have more than one person at the top governing across the board, when you have to sit 25 people or 10 people down or 5 people down or whatever you decide it is, when you have to sit those people down and say, how are we going to govern this country, right? So if you took a representative from each state and they governed the country, then you'd see a much different political outcome than you do when one person's at the top.
But you have 512 representatives in Congress for individual states and regions and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
and then you have.
But how do I get to that conversation?
The president. And then you also have
ours is right in Plattsburgh.
You also have the Supreme Court. And
make an appointment. See how that goes for you.
The checks and balances.
You know what I'm saying? Our government's become not accessible to the people. So it's our government, and we don't have access to our government to create change unless it's at the time that we vote. Well, I'm sorry. You can't always wait until you vote. Sometimes shit needs to be addressed. So we the people, have no way to get a hold of our government. Honestly, if I go into Plattsburgh, where's this place at?
It's right over by.
And whose office is it?
It's right over by the McDonald's on 9. You know, that plaza.
And that's my congressman, senator. Who is it?
It was Betty White's old office, but she's
Betty White.
She sat down.
I think
so. Whoever my state representative is, if I called today and said, I have a concern, I really think if I called today and said, listen, I have a huge concern with the way my government is being run. I have a huge concern with the lack of addressing issues in our country.
But there's so many avenues that we can take.
There are no avenues.
The idea.
The only avenue you know what she's going to tell me? Nothing. You know why? Because the chance of me getting in to see her or her speaking to me is 0. Well, and I can write her a letter, and I can email her, and I can do all those great things, but it's not going to be addressed. Not going to be addressed. Our access, we the people, have no access to our government to create change when it's not an election.
We have avenues to speak to them, and if basically you're saying when you call them, when you get a petition, when you take all those steps that we have available to us, when you...
Have you ever seen those steps create change?
Well, to put it this way, you're the homeowner. You've signed a contract with this guy, and unless he burns the place down and runs away, you can't really get rid of him, right? Impeachment, right? It has to be really it has to be something serious. So that's your contract. It's like ironclad, pretty close, and you have them. But you're like, that's not the floor or the tile that I want, or the backsplash or whatever. That's not the stuff I asked you for. That's not the stuff that you said you would give me. Why are you doing this to me? You're screwing up my house.
Yeah.
That you tell them that. You tell them, like, you need to fix this issue. And if they don't respond,
no, they haven't.
I'm not going to re-up your contract next time around. You don't get those same benefits from me.
Here's the thing. It doesn't matter because you only have the two candidates and one of the two are going to win, and they're all kind of pushed by the same people. So
I'm just saying that
you have avenues, but those avenues are always like, I'm sorry, I just see dead ends. Like, I don't see, I could probably start today, write my state representative on a daily basis about not just a general topic, like, hey, our country's going to shit, but pick a specific topic. Let's say I'll research whatever it is that person said they're running for office for. Find whatever it is that I'm bitching about and literally email them, send them letters, leave messages every single day from now until God knows when. And I'm probably not going to get the response I want. I'm probably going to get somebody at my door going, hey, domestic terrorists, like, you're harassing the fuck out of your representative. Like, this is like stalking, dude. Like, I'm not going to get the reaction I want. Or it's going to be ignored. Like,
yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you get enough voices, everybody wants to run, they want to keep their job. And we should be electing people that honestly and truly want to serve their country. That they want to have this civic responsibility. They want to make the country better. They want to make people's lives better. They want to move the world.
You mean make America
forward.
Great again?
They want to move the world forward. That's honestly, like, we are adult enough to be able to have this discussion. There are enough people out there that can put aside petty grievances and just listen to logic. And
not in our government.
What I'm saying is that we need to get the people there.
Well, yes, but here's the problem getting the people there.
It's because we need to break free
like
of this
right
mindset
now,
that we don't have a
but
voice.
Right
we don't
now,
have ability to change.
Right now, you have people that set a bad example, right? They totally fuck some shit up. Okay.
You're allowed to have the nuclear launch codes, but you're not allowed to have a Twitter account because you're too dangerous. Ooh, that's a rough one.
Irony.
Not to quote Zuko here, but that's rough, buddy.
Go fucking boom. You know, like.
Oh, to quote Joe Biden, just shut up, man.
Oh my god.
That was the most honest thing I've seen ever in politics.
I love that.
Except for Howard Dean's yaw or whatever.
Yeah,
that was a, like, he felt that from his toes. And
it's like watching a wrestler.
Joe Biden, will you shut up, man?
That was funny. That was
bit of, like, pure honesty was so refreshing.
That was I've had it. Yeah. That was his, just like, his brain went snap. I'm like, shut the fuck up, you dumb cunt.
Yeah, it was
please.
Real. I wish we could have those, like, let's get those types of debates. Like where that is you draining yourself to the max.
If I could get to my local, my state legislature, I would have that debate.
I think we could all agree that the government fucking sucks. And, you know what? All this talk about them, like, censoring the internet, I'm just going to print out my political views on paper like an old school communist in the 50s.
So you're
going to write a manifesto, are you? Listen.
No, the manifesto is what they're going to... No. I'm probably already on a list because I'm libertarian. I don't need to be on any more. We here at Outwardly Awkward do not condone any sort of domestic violence whatsoever.
At all.
Or, no domestic terrorism, nothing. We
don't condone any violence. We're not violent people.
That word.
No, because it's actually a word that, like, they're going down a slippery slope with the domestic terrorism.
No, I mean, me personally, I say that word quite a bit at home because that's what I call my cat.
Domestic terrorist.
Oh my
Well,
God.
technically your cat is. By legal definition, your cat is a domestic terrorist in your home. It's a domestic area and he terrorizes you on a daily. So
yes.
he completely fits Guantanamo Bay for him.
No, it's Guantanamo Bay. Good night, everybody.
Cat joke. We're out.
And this concludes joke time with Donnie.
No, it doesn't.
Damn.
24/7, baby. 365.
Hannah's just saying, other than like her cat, we're not really referring to like. Never mind. We're not violent people.
We are pacifists.
So how I am.
Speak for yourself. I'm not a pacifist.
I'm not a pacifist.
I'm not a pacifist. I'm just a coward.
Yeah.
I'm not a coward either. I absolutely believe in my Second Amendment rights.
It's a line from a Monty Python sketch where this guy
I
is in the
believe
military.
in the Second Amendment, right? Absolutely. But you're saying you would trust me with a firearm?
Absolutely. I would trust you with a firearm over, like, the dude unloading him out of his fucking trunk, handing him off to 25, 15-year-olds. Yes, I would rather you have a gun than them. Thank you.
Well,
because it's bought and legally paid for. You know?
Well,
like,
yeah.
Like, the majority of the guns that are killing people are the ones that are coming out of those trunks.
Really?
They're not the ones you're going to
Really?
purchase.
You mean upstanding citizens aren't using their firearms against people? When did that change?
We need to alert our government. Someone tell Joe Biden.
God damn it, Donnie. Coffee in the nose. Got coffee straight up my nose.
That's great.
Yeah, every day.
One of these days, we're actually going to make a video of this. That way, you can see coffee literally going up her nose. Just
It happened yesterday. Did it not happen the day before yesterday? Did you not crack something?
probably.
Oh, that was
Me.
a few days ago.
Yeah, I remember the coffee up my nose.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Who knows what it was I said?
You're not very talkative tonight.
Nope.
You got to pick that shit, huh?
Nope.
You don't care, ain't doing it.
Morgan's like, fuck them all. He's like, yeah, basically.
As Morgan tips his head to the side, he's like, yeah, fuck them all.
They can't see you do that, Morgan. You have to.
You're all retarded. Make up your fucking mind. A not acceptable word. Don't give a fuck.
The fuck's given.
I don't think our listeners do.
Just making sure.
They're just here waiting for us to talk about aliens.
Yes.
Okay, can we not listen? Okay, now I gotta tell you this story. You're gonna love this shit. So
Well,
I
I
go
don't
to
want to
the
hear any probing, all right?
Gosh, oh no, listen to this.
Oh Lord.
I go to a gas station. I'm not gonna say where. I'm not gonna say who because I think the dude's a nice dude. Okay, I think he's a good dude.
Nutty.
And I think he's a good dude, and I think we all have our issues. I am not one to talk. I have mine, lots of them. But anywho, I go to this gas station to get some gas, and he comes up and asks how much gas I want. They pump your gas there, and I'm like, $20. I go inside to get some things I needed, and came back out, and he begins to have a conversation about people stealing money, and of course I'm like, that's horrible. People shouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. And then he starts talking about politics, and I'm like, yeah, the shit's really sucking right now. And he's like, well, if you just asked the aliens to come, then this wouldn't be a problem. And I knew in that moment that I really needed to get back in the car.
Back to Earth.
I was feeling a big bit unsafe.
I'll get hold of him later.
But being who I am, I thought, well, why not ask about it? I mean,
Oh, Lord.
I'm standing next
It's
to the
only
door.
polite.
It's only polite. What could possibly happen? And if I walk away, I'm going to make the guy feel bad, and I don't want him to feel bad about himself.
And you're gonna wonder.
No.
Yeah.
I definitely wish I had not asked. However, I was like, what do you mean to call the aliens and they'll come help us? And then he proceeds to tell me about his friend who had seen a UFO back in the day. And I don't know when this day is because the dude's got a mask on. So I can't really tell his age, and I'm not really good at the age thing. I like mistake it 25 for 30 or 40 or like just don't know how old he was. So back whenever, his friend had told him he had been abducted by aliens and that all he had to do was call for them, is say it out loud, and they would come. He said he was outside one day and he thought he'd try it. Now, for me, this is like, I'm just picturing him in the mirror going, Candyman, Candyman, Candyman. Like, this is what I'm picturing.
Except he's standing in the garden with a tinfoil hat going, alien, alien, alien.
And I'm also picturing the handkerchief of chloroform that's going to be going over my mouth. Waking up in a pine box, digging my fucking way out. Like, I'm really now, I'm having like a Criminal Minds moment in my head. And he's like, yeah. He's like, so I went outside and I called for them. And I'm like, oh, you did you? And I'm thinking, I was kind of thinking more conspiracy theory kind of shit to talk about. But you want to talk about aliens? Let's have at it, dude. And of course, I'm still curious and I don't want to hurt his feelings because I'm feeling like I need to get back in the car really bad. But at this point, I am like balls deep. So I can't like, nothing I can do.
Might as well just come inside at this point.
Nothing I can do now. But finish it up. So he tells me he goes outside and he calls for these aliens, and all of a sudden a red orb shows and it zips around in front of him and he gives this big like dramatic, he's using the arms as he's pumping my gas, and now I'm thinking don't go over $20 because I can't afford it.
Come out of your pocket, player.
So, and as he's talking with his hands out this orb and how it comes over and it's in front of him and it splits into this like cross of shining light, and I'm thinking, well, you died. Like, and I'm trying not to say anything that's going to upset him because obviously
because of the chloroform.
Meanwhile, he sees the fear in your eyes.
And trying to keep the poker face, but it's more like a what the fuck? My what the fuck wrinkles were really going. And he's like, yeah, he's like, and this beams of light came out, and he's like, I yelled for my brother. He's like, and he came out, and as soon as he opened the door, the light went boom off. Everything went dark. And I'm like, oh, well, that's not good. He's like, yeah, they knew. And I'm like, they knew what? He's like, they knew somebody else was there, and it was just for me, for my eyes only. And I'm thinking, okay, now this is gonna get gross. Like, this has got to be like some kind of weird intro pickup line thing. Like, I gotta get back in the car. I'm gonna die. And he's like, yeah. He's like, you know, and they disappeared. He's like, so. He's like, a few nights later, I went outside and I called for him again. He's like, but this time they came back and they took me. And I'm like, they did they? He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then at this point, I'm like, you're at $18. Like,
they took you from behind.
And he's like, they took me. And I'm like, they took you? Like, how did they take you? Like, were they in white suits? Like,
were they big men in strap-ons?
Did you give yourself a hug for a really long time?
I thought, but I didn't say were they in white suits because that's really all I need to know. He's like, no. He's like, one minute I'm standing there and they're pulling me up and I'm just like stretching out and I'm like, that's mushrooms. That's like, you were tripping. So I mentioned this because I really need to know. I'm like, well, dude, were you tripping? And he's like, no. Kind of like I just shit on his parade.
Well, you kind of did lay a big stinker on it.
Well, I mean, he did stretch into like a ball, like a tube of light, and went up into the spaceship where they were gray. And then he was like, yeah, they planted this chip in my head. And he's like banging on his head at this point. Like banging on his head. They planted this chip in my head. Bang, but I'm not going to hit my head because I have the post-concussional syndrome.
Yeah, you don't want to upset that.
So, like, he's banging on his head. Yeah, they put this chip in my head, and it's there. And he's like, the hardest part about all of that, he's like, is when they take you up there, the first thing you do is, like, in order for them to get in your mind, you have to face all your trauma. And I'm thinking to myself in that moment,
you got it in the butt.
Fuck, I'm going to die. Like, the chloroform rag's coming out, and I'm not going to wake up in a coffin. No. I'm going to wake up in his basement where he's going to feed me for the next 50 years. Like, no. I'm going to be chained to, like, oh, fuck no. I'm like, oh, trauma. He's like, yeah. I relived every traumatic event in my life. He's like, and it fucked me up. And I'm thinking, yeah, if I lived every traumatic event in my life within a few minutes, because he says this happened like seconds. Like, he was gone years, but it was like seconds. You know what I mean? And he's like, every traumatic event, I relived it. It sucked. It was just really fucked up. It's like when I got back, things weren't right. And I'm thinking, and I looked at him, I'm like, yeah, I bet, dude. Like, I am so sorry you had to go through that. I'm thinking to myself, wow. Then he's like, yeah. He's like, and then tried to kill myself. And I'm like, oh, great, awkward now. I'm like, I am so sorry. He's like, yeah, and now that chip is still in my head. And he just keeps whacking on his head.
Meanwhile, you're at $43 on the tank.
Meanwhile, he's pumped the gas, he's hung it up, he's put the cap back on, and I am opening the door, kind of like backing my ass up into the car, thinking, at what point am I, like, at this point, I feel like if I end the conversation, I'm being rude, and I'm going to hurt his feelings. The other part of me is really interested. Like, I just want to hear more. Like, please tell me what else you got for me.
It's actually pretty common. The grays, all that stuff. That's actually like
I know. I came home and Googled that shit, and there are like lots of people that say that.
Yeah.
So he says to me, I'm like, dude, I'm really sorry. He's like, if you ever want, he's like, I'm like, really sorry, I gotta go. Like, got an appointment. Like, it's 8:00 at night. Where the fuck do I have an appointment, right? But I'm like, got an appointment, gotta go. And he's like, listen,
I have family waiting on me.
Anytime. He's like, just call out for them. They'll come for you. And I'm like, I've got a teenager. I don't think I need any aliens in my life. Like, I got enough to handle. Like, I'm just wrapping my mind around like basic conspiracy theories right now. I don't think my brain's really ready for the alien conspiracy theory yet. Can we start, like, I'm gonna have to start a little smaller on the conspiracy theories, but I appreciate it very much.
A lot of stuff about aliens,
especially
recently.
I'm really sorry about the chip, dude. Like, I hope you have a great evening.
By the way, I just want to tell all the people who made those monoliths, like, fuck you. Like, that I saw that shit start happening. I'm like, no, not this year. This is not the year.
That?
The
random
monoliths that have
statues.
been like appearing all over the
How do you
earth.
I don't remember where it was, but how do you explain the one that wasn't fucking put there by
It
anybody?
was the artists.
They're artists.
Here's the thing.
It came out. It's a group of artists like got on the internet and like talked to each other. It was a whole big hoax.
We've had COVID. We've had COVID. We've had government upheaval. We've had all kinds of movements. We've got conspiracy
Killer
theories.
bees.
Oh, great, Hannah. Thanks. Conspiracy
You don't
theories
remember
pouring out our ass.
Murder hornets. That's what they were.
Hornets. And aliens. Like, I don't know that I can take one more world fucking crisis.
I'm just waiting on the
Oh,
werewolves.
you forgot about Australia being on
That
fire,
happens, I'm
too.
getting
Australia what?
Was on fire last year.
Okay, see?
Not
See?
only Australia,
And the rainforest.
The entire Amazon rainforest. The lungs of the world were like a quarter burned.
Yeah.
So, you
Pretty
see...
wild.
So you see, by the time I get to the alien story, where
But that's why I think we should all get back to the unity thing.
I'm not ready
Like,
for the
we're all
aliens.
one people and we're all in this together.
Okay.
So you guys want to go outside with the computer and just scream for the aliens and hopefully this will broadcast itself? I don't know.
You watch, and then they're gonna fucking show up, Donnie. And then what are we gonna do?
I'm gonna squeeze my ass cheeks as tight
Because
as
you're gonna
possible.
lose your Second Amendment rights, so you're not going to be able to protect your
I'm
own.
gonna lose my anal virginity.
Hold on. Yeah, like that's virgin. Anyway.
So well. Donnie is fire piercing his lips like a 2-year-old who just got his hand slapped.
I ain't even mad. That was great. I ain't even mad. That was funny as shit.
Dylan is now leaving the table to pace because he is extremely uncomfortable. I am going to, probably go shower at this point.
I feel dirty.
No, she's just gonna imagine. Never mind. She's got that new pressure system in there, you know. You got that massage head.
No new pressure system.
Motherfucker, Donnie, I'm gonna puke.
In case people haven't noticed by now, Joelle is Morgan's mom, so
We only have a 25-foot dug well. We ain't got that kind of pressure.
I just threw up.
I'm out.
Wherever you're going, I'm going with you. Doesn't matter where.
I
win. Dylan is now walking to the door.
Yeah, Dylan has left the room, actually.
Wimp.
Maybe want to go huff paint.
There's such a thing as too much talk.
Fella ought to be aware of it.
Oh my god.
Oh. That was rough. No pun intended.
Yeah, so I don't know that, I don't know that I can go back there to get gas, man. Because I am scared
I wouldn't go back
of
there.
either the aliens,
Wait,
the
here's
chip.
the thing, though.
What if it's real?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
That's
how
what
can
I'm
you
saying.
dismiss it?
I didn't dismiss it at all. I just don't want to fucking see it. Like, keep your damn aliens and your chip. I don't need to relive my fucking trauma. I'm good.
Well, if we all go out there, with a camera,
Ain't nobody got time for that.
It won't work.
It won't work.
No
It's-
one work. It's only for you.
yeah, because
God.
once they take you and then they pass you on to somebody else.
Okay.
So now you've been targeted.
I think what happened was he got a hold of some shrooms and he took a gram too many. Is what I think. I think he went on a little trip and he had some fun and now he thinks it's real. Either that or his lithium script ran out.
I think it's probably closer to the second one.
Okay, like somebody's script ran out. Med manager alert. Like,
But if something crazy did happen, and nobody's gonna believe you, right? This is the paradox that we create, right? Is that like we say, "Oh, well, we're open-minded," but it's got to be like the day the Earth stood still. Like something's got to land in the middle of New York City in front of everybody, so that the way the world captures it. But for years now, there's also been all sorts of
there has.
unexplained crap that
Other governments have
don't wanna-
admitted
Yeah.
to there being aliens.
I don't know.
See,
I don't-
here's my
I don't
problem.
know. I
It's
don't think
easier
we're
for
in
my
contact
brain.
with them.
It's easier for my brain to believe that he is off his lithium than it is for my brain to say that there are aliens.
Oh, well,
Because if my brain for a second believes that there are aliens, I don't know that there are enough, like, I don't know that there's a psych ward for me. Like, I would just, like, go, I don't know, like,
Shave the hair
like-
off my head, super glue to my chest, run in the woods.
like, between the little brain injury thing going on and the COVID, the social distancing, like, the government upheaval, all these conspiracy theories, all these little groups having their little things. If you add aliens to that, I think that would be like the drop in the fucking bucket for me. Like, time for me to check out. If an alien showed up at my door today, I would be like, nah. And I think everybody does that out of fear. Like, it's fear. Like, fear of the absolute fucking unknown. I do not fucking want to know. Don't want to know. Live here, have fun, take over the earth, don't give a shit, don't want to know you're here. Just let me live out my last 20 good years. Like, like, I'm good. Dylan, no.
Meanwhile, I'll fuck an alien for free. You just can't stick nothing in my ass.
God.
I'll be like, yep. Homeboy fucked a Martian once.
They put anything in my ass, it's supposed to be Martian meat.
Okay.
Because I've always wondered what exotic meat tastes like.
Oh my
I
god.
got some exotic meat.
Hold
for
on.
Oh my god.
Okay.
How does this always take the turn? For
Enough. Fuck.
Aliens.
Sorry,
Not
I'm
wanting
thinking
them.
about my exotic meat.
Can't take
No, it's not that. It's there. You're treading a line of appropriateness that.
Appropriateness. How many times has keywords been said in this?
Listen,
Have
he's
you
gonna
not-
have to edit the holy shit out of this.
Oh, I'm
We're
sorry.
not editing anymore. We
Oh.
haven't edited in a long
Aren't
time.
we gonna get in trouble?
No.
I
it's
said the
18
F word at
plus
least
channel.
15
It doesn't
times.
matter. It's 18 plus.
Oh,
Yep.
cool. Okay.
It's
So-
illegal for the
Donnie
children
went
that
off
get
there
out of
for a
this.
minute.
Their parents can get in trouble.
But in any case,
Yes, dear.
It's the truth. You can sue the
to
parents.
say
Do not let your children listen to this.
that aliens don't exist
Oh. didn't say that. I said I didn't want to know.
But, well, that's fine. But I'm just saying, to say that they don't exist at all would be very close-minded considering how vast our universe is.
It's just them coming to visit us is the highly
Listen,
unlikely
they can be
part.
vastly in our universe wherever they choose to be. Just don't come here.
But how do you explain, then, the whole alien DNA thing?
You don't. I don't like. I just don't know if my brain can take another close. Okay.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, Mulder. What?
Our work
We
once
don't
had us read a
know
book,
that.
and it's not a crisis. It's an inconvenience. You see, and I feel like
Being Pale Alien
after
is not
5
an
or 6
inconvenience.
inconveniences, you have a full blown 4-alarm crisis. So I have had many inconveniences this year, and it is to the crisis state. And I think if you add aliens to that, for me, it will be to the crisis state. Like, it's not that I don't believe; it's just that, I can't.
You don't want to believe.
Yes.
Anti-Mulder.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to. It's kind of like looking at your checking account. Like, you know you gotta look at it.
But you don't wanna.
You know you gotta look at it. You know you need to know what the fucking balance is. You need to see what cleared, what didn't. You need to see if you have enough to pay, whatever. But you, like, procrastinate for 3 or 4 days because you're scared to look at it. Because you know when you look at it, it's going to be like, fuck. Like, wow, that isn't what I thought it was. Same thing. It's like, I don't want to look at my checking account. Like, I can't.
Put the bills back in the mailbox.
Exactly. What bills? I didn't get any mail.
Put it back in the mailbox. The old Fred Sanford technique. And Hannah's looking up alien DNA on Google, I assume.
It freaks me right out. The
Is that
thought of it.
RH?
And I'm a super open-minded person. But it freaks me right out. No.
I think there are aliens, but again, for them to visit our planet is a highly
But
unlikely.
if you think there are aliens and they haven't visited our planet, please. If I look down at us, I'd be like, I've got to go see these motherfuckers. There's something wrong
Are
with
you
them.
kidding? We're the planet that aliens drive by, lock the doors, and roll up their fucking windows. More coffee up the nose.
Motherfucker, babe, can you roll up the hatch before some of them fucking weird ass fucking things get into our fucking ship? They can't fly.
Okay.
Just imagine if their concept of time is totally different from ours. Like, they live much longer, so they, like, drive by one day and they're like...
Well, I think that's all for us today.
Well,
Donnie tried to kill me.
Joella just almost choked to death, and I found the answer. It's Rh negative blood that is conspiracy theoried to be alien DNA.
Huh.
Ancient alien DNA.
Yes.
Hold up. I wish you people could see this, but I'm doing the ancient alien guy
Yeah.
hand thing.
There's
I got the hair for it.
There's also a theory that it's Nephilim DNA.
Interesting.
Like, how do we know this if we don't have a Nephilim to compare it to? Like, how do you know what the DNA of a
And
Nephilim is?
how do we know we don't have an alien? We
What's the
really don't
answer?
have an alien.
Oh.
We don't have an alien to compare it to.
Well,
like-
or do we?
I think we're... Anyway.
Anyway, so that's gonna wrap it up for us tonight. This has been definitely outwardly awkward tonight.
Almost died twice today. Choked to death and caught myself on fire.
So which was your worst fear at this point?
I would rather catch myself on fire than choke to
Like the
death.
trial of the witches over there. She's been drowned and she's been caught on fire.
She survived. She survived.
You
She's
cannot off me.
Like, Morgan, do not put like, stones on a plank of wood on top of her. That's
That's
the other
right.
thing is the crushing one, right?
Yeah.
There was
one guy that actually got crushed to death because he refused to admit to being a witch.
there's tons of it. I mean,
Well, there was one famous case. I can't remember the guy's name.
Oh, listen, you don't have to argue. I'll admit to being a witch. I'm good. just let me be. Like, I've already choked to death, caught myself on fire, like, cut the top of my hand. Like, it's all in a day. Like, I'm good, thanks.
Oh, sink or float. That's the other one.
Oh,
too.
well, do I have to sink or float? Because I'm going to float.
Then I think you're a witch. Because
That's my fault.
The way the thing is they would throw them into the water.
I thought it was sink too.
Yeah, if they drown,
floating it, like
it's because if a woman
because it had to be lighter than a.
If you have more muscle than fat on your body, then you tend to sink.
Yeah.
Like my legs.
Yeah, but didn't they throw them in tied up?
What?
They threw them in tied up.
I think so.
Oh, it was just
okay. Sink or float,
sometimes
motherfucker. I'm tied up.
Pockets, I think rocks in their.
I
Pockets
took a breath. I sunk.
Like, oh, I put rocks in their pockets, but they're sinking. Oh my goodness! Like it was terrible. Some terrible stuff happened. Like we have. That's what I'm saying. We as people have grown so far. We've come so far.
Apparently, that's not all from us tonight.
We've grown from not burning people at the stake.
Yes.
Like,
okay.
We've grown to. Wait. We've grown from. We do still burn people at the stake. Not literally.
Metaphorically.
Metaphorically, we do.
Okay. I would rather get a metaphorical roasting than fucking lit on fire. God damn. Oh no! This time I mean it.
Joel's gonna choke again. Don't do it.
Good night, everybody.
Oh, that's so funny.
Okay, so I think this wraps it up for us. I'm almost positive.
We're done.
By the way, buy the merch. It's linked, I think.
Yep, we're gonna put the link in all of our YouTube videos
Oh my God.
in the description. So please look for Awkward Productions, where you can find our T-shirts from Outwardly Awkward, as well as from our parent company, Plan 18 Productions. So, good night, everybody.